Hey, it's after Memorial Day, which means something about wearing white, and also that we're kicking off our summer reading shenanigans over on our Substack. What does that mean? It's still somewhat of a surprise, even kind of to us, but we'll be rolling it out over the next few weeks. Think summer book reports from me and Miranda, a summer book club meeting with a chance to meet the author, and more. We're still trying to figure out a way to give you all stickers for every book you read and an end of the summer pizza party like in our youth times. Who knows what we'll figure out. Subscribe to our Substack. It's free unless you don't want it to be over at motherofitall.substack.com. The link is also in show notes. Toodles! Wait, say that again.
You look nice.
Stop it.
No, you do. I think it's partly the pajamas. They're like pop. Are they poppies for Memorial Day?
I don't know. My mommy got them for me. We have matching pajamas, like I'm her American Girl doll or something.
That's so nice.
Yeah. I still kind of like have that thing where if my mom like is maybe gonna buy something for me, I like turn into a little girl, you know? So like she had these pajamas and I was like, oh, those are nice. And she was like, they're pretty affordable. And I was like, oh, well, I don't have a lot of pajamas. I just always kind of go through them. And like, I don't know, I get all like weird. And so she bought me pajamas.
It's hard because you're like, what are you going to say? Like, Mom, why don't you buy me those? Like, I haven't figured that out.
Give me my allowance. It's nice of you to say that about me, but I don't feel nice. I'm alone. I mean, the alone part is not bad in a hotel room in Iceland. Yeah. Like away from my family hotel room because we are just like rotating stomach viruses.
Are you in the sick room?
I'm in the sick room, yes.
Yeah. I'm sorry. So you and John are in the sick room?
Yeah. Well, no, I'm alone in the sick room. John and the two kids are in the healthy room, which is really nice. Like, it's where you want to be. There's like a bathtub in the middle of the room. And for some reason, some of the part of the room spins. Like the floor spins.
That sounds great for a stomach virus. Nice spinning room. Like just what you want.
It's like they're trolling us.
Yeah.
No, we made the very smart decision to just pay for like an extra hotel room for the sick person, which like for the last really 2 days was first it was me, then it was my husband for 2 days. Now it's me again.
What?
There's like this. Max had this stomach virus. Before we left, and like went through a couple pairs of underwear on the plane, like just like diarrheaing, and then it's just lasted forever.
I'm not laughing. I'm sorry.
No, please laugh. Turn my like mundane horror into something like remotely delightful.
Well, it's funny because when you told me that Max was sick, like had a little stomach thing, but like it passed and you were going to Iceland, like you were like gonna do it. And I was talking to David about it and I was like, it's gonna hit them on the plane and it's gonna be like a 9-hour flight. And you're like a 9-hour flight with a stomach bug. Like, what do you do? Just like shut yourself in the bathroom and say, and do you remember that guy that landed the plane? Do you remember the guy who like, this was like, I think about it all the time. It's like 6 years ago or something. Some guy had I think this like British guy or something had so much diarrhea that they had to like land the plane.
Like he physically landed the plane, like his diarrhea
like I don't know. It was so gross or it was so dangerous or I don't know. But it was like, I think about it all the time where you're like, this guy, like That's like probably the most fame he'll ever have. It's like,
Yeah, we don't even know his name, but apparently you think about it all the time. I
I
love
mean, I
that.
just feel for him wherever you are. I'm still thinking about you, which is probably not what he wants. He's like, stop thinking.
The diarrhea guy.
He's
This
like, I've
is
done so much since then.
Yeah, no, I mean he's lived lives, but it's hard to live down. I mean, yeah, so we gave this my son the aisle seat, and like
Yeah.
luckily he was kind of past the explosive diarrhea at that point.
Yeah.
But like, he did keep kind of like it was a red eye. So he was like
Yeah.
asleep, but he would be, I mean, I'm going to use the word farting as
Yeah.
like a real
Yeah.
glow up from
Yeah.
whatever was happening. And the smell was like,
Oh,
someone had shit their pants. And I mean, I think it was literally that had happened. Like
oh,
he woke
yeah.
up and was like, I think,
It's a
um,
shart. I mean, right. It's a,
yeah,
we
but
can
we
say,
were kind of
oh,
quote
right.
unquote sleeping in that.
Right. Right. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I'm
It's,
sorry. And
yeah,
so you
I'm
got
just,
there and you're like, we're in Iceland. We did it.
yes.
And
We said
then
we're in Iceland. We had some smoked fish, and then
just
yeah,
what you want.
he like puked again, and then I got sick, and then
Oh
my
my
husband
gosh.
like like there's like people have like sick types, right? There's like
Yeah.
sick archetypes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like the stuff it downer. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not like saying it to be like, I'm like, whatever,
Right.
like
That's just like
um
how
I
you
was like raised on a farm, and
deal.
I
Yeah.
don't get, no, I just mean like I just feel it all inside.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Oh,
like
yeah.
don't get a fever. I rarely like puke or anything like that. And I just
Yeah.
feel awful for days. But my husband gets like fevers, and, he just goes like down. So that's what he did.
You were
Um,
texting about like questions you have for epidemiologists and like
yeah. Are
I
you an
have this is a,
epidemiologist, by the
I
way?
mean,
Don't you have
self-taught, I think.
some fancy degree?
I wish.
It's not
No.
that.
I think like okay, so I talk about my kids that way, in that type way, where I'll be like, well, Griffin's our fever kid, and Nellie is our cough kid, and like,
Yeah.
I mean, which is like not exactly the same, but like, I have always wanted, and I'll say it to the pediatrician all the time when I'm kind of explaining symptoms, like, oh, well, blah blah blah, but he's our fever kid, so like, it was 104 or whatever, and like, they always just kind of nod, and I wonder like, are they thinking like, this is crazy, lady, this is not a real thing, or are they like, oh yeah, sure, 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 that's like how that works, you
Yeah.
know?
Do they think we're like zodiac signing,
Right,
like
right. They're like, oh yeah,
epidemiology? No,
yeah,
it is. I guarantee you, if we
it's a
had an
thing.
epidemiologist on right now, they would say that is real. People get sick
Yeah,
in different ways.
yeah,
And also, some people get more sick than others. And
yeah,
also, here's what I want an epidemiologist to say to me
yeah.
is that we are not making it up, that
Mm,
like the last 2 to 3 years, whatever, ever since like, things like whatever school was in person again,
yeah. After
there have been
COVID, I
the
shouldn't say after
illnesses
COVID. Yeah,
are absolutely nonstop.
yeah,
They're nonstop. This is like this, but I haven't seen
and
that
like
piece that's just
bad.
like, this is actually like objectively worse.
I
I had two
know.
kids before COVID, and it was not, it would be like everyone has a runny nose all the time, but I
Yeah,
didn't feel like I was dodging diseases like zombies and being like, oh,
yeah.
like, one kid has noro one week, and then the next week we've got like whooping cough.
Flu.
And like,
Yeah,
yeah,
it's like so. Okay. So like we've been sick for 12
yeah. What's
days.
your status? 12 days?
12
Is
days.
that
So
one
my
thing or many things? Or
I
one thing for
think it
many
is
people?
one thing. I think it started out with slow coming on for Griffin. He's patient zero, pretty sure. But like when that was happening, Nellie had like this really disgusting runny nose that I now theorize is a different bug. But so
Yeah.
I, comforted myself with the thought at the time that like, okay, well, they both have this gross thing. And then so anyway, so Griffin went down with a nasty fever. What the bug is 2 days of terrible fever, and then like hacking cough, and you feel, it starts slow. It starts out when you're like, I just have a cold and whatever. This is a normal cold and that's
A
fine.
trickster.
And then
Loki.
you're just like, wham!
Sorry, I'm in the Nordic country. Yeah. I'm
I
really
love a
into
Loki, a
now.
trickster god.
Yeah.
So it's that, and then so the fever, so like it didn't get to me. So Griffin went down last weekend. David went down hard like midweek. And then I went down hard. And I was all like, I was doing this like propolis spray and I was like neti potting all the time.
What's the spray? Like the Israeli
I'm probably saying
spray?
it wrong. Propolis.
Is that the Israeli thing that's supposed to keep you from being sick, but like maybe it's toxic?
I know what you're talking about. It's not that stuff. It's just it's a bee product.
So it's made up.
It's made up. It's totally made up. But I do buy it locally. It's like a hippie company locally. I think mainly my thing with it is like, it's like propolis from bees, which I think is only dangerous if you have like a bee allergy. So like, I won't let David use it. And then like,
does he have a bee allergy?
He does.
And you're just keeping.
He does.
Oh my God.
So I know it's dangerous. I told him not to have any.
Secretly kill him.
Yeah. Sometime. So I'm doing like all that, but I'm like working super hard to be like, I'm going to stay so healthy. Like doing neti pot and kind of feeling a little bit proud of myself about that. Like David's really sick and I'm like, oh, it's, you don't exercise as much as I do.
Exactly. No, I will do that. Like it'll come into the house and I'm like, I'm an educator. I don't get sick. And I drink my emergency and I feel like kind of self-satisfied.
Same.
And I mean, I still maintain that most of the time I don't get sick.
But, I do get sick the least. Yeah, I will say.
But I will like, I at this point, I think this year, it has just gotten to such a boiling point where like, I just think I basically can't give a fuck anymore about getting like about illnesses ruining everything fun, or I would never attempt to do anything. But but before that, I mean, I just have so much anxiety and I'm not like a germ person, but I just like, I'm so fucking tired of like everything fun of like, we can't have nice things.
No, so like when this all
there's
started,
4 people in our family and if one of them's sick, basically we're fucked.
For like a month, right? It's like, I feel like, so like the 12-day thing. So I went down, like, so kids went down, David went down, finally I went down. And like, I got one day where David like took the kids away. He's like, you've got a fever, just like get in bed. And that was the first like real sort of sick day that I've had maybe since becoming a mom, where I like fully just like watched Real Housewives. Right. Like, the house was empty. It was amazing. And then of course he came home and
you're like, I feel sick. Like, this is what we were saying when we got the extra hotel room, and my brother-in-law who does not have kids like made some comment about how it like wasn't that nice, or we were leaving the nice room, and I was like, no, you don't understand. My husband is like gonna be in a hotel room sick by himself without his children. He was like delighted. I mean, he looked like Juan and everything, but he was like, for me?
Yeah, you're like, thank you.
For me?
I can never repay this.
I can die in peace?
Yeah, exactly. No, so you died in peace I got that. I died in peace for a day.
One day.
And it wasn't even a whole day. It was like they were kind of in and out,
and
it was fine. It was lovely. And then, of course, he got home looking kind of clammy. And I was like, wait, you're over it? Like, what? And he's like checking his temperature. And I was like, I don't even want to see that. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to see that. And he's like, so then, of course, now he has like terrible pneumonia. So the poor guy is like, okay, so he has pneumonia. This turned into pneumonia for him. It turned into a double ear infection for Griffin. And Nellie has an ear infection in her left ear and pneumonia in her right lung. So she gets the mixed bag.
The old asymmetrical.
The mixture. Poor kid. It's crazy. And so today I go to get my lungs after taking Nellie to the pediatrician for the like 8th time in the last 10 days. I took myself, which I was like really dragging my heels about, to go get an x-ray on my chest because I was like, I just fine. And like my ribs were hurting and my lungs are clear. Like it's all good. And I'm like, great, but I feel like it's coming. But anyway, I took advantage.
That's the one thing about getting, like, when you get sick in the family cycle is you're like, okay, well now I don't have to like brace myself for
Right. Right.
this.
You
You
kind
know,
of
I got it.
know.
It's like my turn.
It's my
Yeah.
turn, and like I'm just, but yeah, so I guess I'm okay. But I asked her about this thing. I was like, okay, so I've been reading for like, and trying to not know when I read this that like COVID can like weaken your immune system, and like, is that real? I was like, is that real? Like, is like, are we
You
getting
asked
hit?
your 3-year-old this?
No, I'm sorry. I
Oh.
asked the doctor I saw at urgent care because she was
Got it.
really like going
Got
over
it.
my x-ray with me. She just seemed really chatty, and I was like, I'm just gonna like ask you some of these questions. And she
Yeah,
was
when you
like,
have a doctor whose like next appointment was canceled or
yeah, that
something,
was I was
you
like,
just
don't you have somewhere to be? Like,
you have to be like, okay, so how long is the clitoris
right.
exactly? I hear different things. Yeah, you have to take it where you can get it.
So yeah, so she was basically like, and I don't know, this is just one lady. I don't know if she's right or whatever, but she
She
launched
was a
into this
doctor,
thing.
Miranda. Let's not call her a lady.
She was actually a physician's
She was a
assistant.
chick.
But she was
Oh.
great. And she was like, she said that colds used to be like 3 to 5 days, and now they're like seeing more like 7 to 10 days, and they're like lingering longer, and they're like a little bit nastier. And she was like, and so if you're in your situation where you're in like a family of 4, like a household of 4, you're gonna feel like things are like you get over something and then there's like barely a break, and then it like hits again. Like it's gonna feel like that because they're
wouldn't people have longer like contagion windows too? You know,
yeah.
like wouldn't things be spreading more?
Well, like RSV is contagious for like it's like 5 weeks or something like that crazy. Where you're just like, oh, there's no way to like. I mean,
Okay.
obviously you can mask and stuff, but
So I'm looking at my like the time and date on my computer right now, Miranda.
yes.
And it does say it's 4:52. That is California time. It's 11:52 in Iceland.
Yeah.
The person in the room next to me is probably pretty annoyed that I'm talking right now. Although
Yeah.
they were snoring. Did I mention how loud
Yes.
they're snoring? Yes. But I can't help but notice that it also says it's May 29th.
Yeah.
It is like a few weeks away from being official summer. My kids are out of school already. Like it is summer break for us.
Yeah.
Why is this still happening? I thought we were supposed to have like a cold and flu season.
Right? I know. Where they're like, oh, well, like I went to get tested and they're testing for like COVID and flu. And they're like, well, we're not really seeing a lot of those things now. But then also they've told me that like tons of people have this thing right now in Portland. And is your friend who has COVID in Portland or there?
Oh, no, she's in the Bay Area. She's got COVID and strep at the same time.
And strep is like everywhere. I have a friend they just had strep. All the teens have strep right now, and you're like,
and you can get it twice. I saw a single mom, a friend of mine from my kids' school, a single mom. I saw her at the Kaiser waiting room with her son, getting him tested for strep the second time because you can give it to yourself again.
Oh
like
God!
You leave it on like it's on your toothbrush, and then it lives longer. And then it comes back to you.
No, you know what? Like this is not okay.
I would like to speak to life's manager. Is basically how I feel about this.
Yeah,
is like what, especially just, and I don't think that. I'm not hearing this from people who aren't parents. I think because, like, when you get sick, I mean, yeah, multiplying it by more than one person means you're more likely to get it. It's more disruptive. Also, everybody is more conscious of like disease than they used to be, which I know is like good in some ways, but it's also really annoying that like before COVID, you would like go to a birthday party sick, and now you don't, or you have to like have like a whole conversation. Yeah. And I get it. It's probably good, but it doesn't seem to be like that behavior does not seem to be curbing the spread of illnesses.
Well, also like the anxiety piece, like I think, so I know that some other moms on the playground about kind of just the anxiety, and I've been thinking about it a lot while we've been dealing with this. Like I have an Ativan prescription that I use sparingly, and like, but it's always in stuff like this. It's like on day 8 of the kind of relentless caretaking. Like I was like, it was one night after the kids had gone to bed and my nerves were like just so shredded. And I was like, I cannot take another temperature or have another kid, you know, sit at the dinner table with their food untouched, be like, I'm cold, and just be like, oh God, you know, and like,
Yeah.
so I, so the Ativan, like, thank God, it helps me chill out. And I've been like doing a lot of meditation after they're in bed to try to get myself to like soothe back down. But I realized that what it challenges is like what everything always challenges and what parenthood always challenges is our need to predict. And
Yeah.
like we want to know. And like you said, like, how do we reconcile making plans? Like we're planning a trip for next February, which is like far away. But I'm totally like I almost didn't plan it for February because I was like, well, we're gonna be sick. But now I'm actually kind of glad to be sick in May because it proves like, oh, you can't
There's no
don't
good time.
yeah, don't pretend
Yeah.
that you're gonna like
Well,
game the viruses. Like you just can't.
yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, usually, I mean, I appreciate anything that forces me to face down my need for like control, right? And and so I think there's some goodness in that. In like, I appreciate that's a good point. That's just like, well, there's no good time. If there's no cold season anymore, then like, you know, yeah, stop trying to kind of predict and plan. And like, I just want to have fun, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And
I
I
think we
mean, and
have
the
to live
truth
in the
is,
moment. You have to
well,
just have fun.
and yes, and to
Yeah.
myself, like to
Yeah.
respond to myself, also like I could be on this trip to Iceland. I'm very capable of not having a good time in a healthy body. You know,
Yeah.
that's the other
Yeah.
thing too. Is like if I wake up tomorrow and I feel good, I'm probably gonna find something immediately to kind of complain about or lament about or feel or or pity myself about.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's not great either.
I don't think
Yeah.
there's like a good, I mean, I don't want to minimize, you know, I want to say like it totally blows. Like this totally sucks. Like you go on a trip and you're sick and like my husband and I were sick on our honeymoon. Like he had a sinus infection and I was getting one. And like but what I remember of the trip is like laying on the beach together and like we
Oh.
did that because we were too tired and sick feeling to like do anything else. But it kind of becomes this like funny story that we tell, you know, and it's but I don't really remember the sick. I remember it as an idea, but I look at the pictures or I have this like thing and it's still our stories or like it's still our present moment. I think I'm, you know, and I don't want to be like trying to like sugarcoat. Like it does suck and then it's
You're saying
also
like
like
this is
life.
life. This is
I think
life.
so.
Yeah,
I think
this
that's
is
what I'm
life
saying.
too.
Yeah.
Yes, I think you're right.
I
I
don't know.
yeah, yeah, there was a moment where I was just kind of like playing this thing in my head of just like this is vacation. It was like, it was like my like being awake in the middle of the night with, by the way, it's like light here at this time of year basically all
Oh,
day and night. So
yeah.
like with the light coming in the windows and like my husband snoring and I can hear, wayside stories coming out of like, or sideways stories for Wayside School coming out of my
Mm-hmm.
daughter's like little speaker. And my son is like whacking me next to me. I'm like, this is vacation. And then at some
Mm-hmm.
point I started going like, also, this is life. Like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
uh,
Right.
and but I just also want to acknowledge like to your Ativan or like all the like meditation you're doing post bedtime. I I feel like happy for you and proud of you for like trying to do something that you think is helpful and like that parenting at that pitch is just so hard. And I also think, I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know about you, I have a lot of like I I I have a lot of like COVID trauma basically,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
where anytime I'm kind of parenting for a long stretch like that, it
Yeah.
has this desperate quality to it that it didn't have before COVID. I mean, I still I still hated long, periods of nothingness with my children before then, but
Yeah.
it has this kind of anxiety and fear
And
and
like alone, like isolation.
loneliness. Yeah, yeah,
I get
yeah.
freaked out. I have to go in a second, but I get freaked out by the sense that like no one can come over and like we can't go anywhere. You know, like
Yeah.
I get really freaked out. Like we gave it triggers, I should say. Like it really triggers like those times of like waving to people on the porch or like someone leaving something on your front porch or drop, like it's very and it comes right back. Yeah, when we have to like isolate and like the guy I went to urgent care. I've been so many times I can't even tell you in the last 12 days. For me, for my kids, whatever. And this like youngish guy that I saw who was like nice, but he's like I would say definitely doesn't have kids. And he was a little bit like just all business. And he said something about because I was like, well, should we test me for like flu and COVID? And he was like, well, it doesn't really matter. He was like, your symptoms, I mean, it's flu or COVID, I'm certain. It doesn't really matter which it is. And I said, well, what? And he said, well, either way you need to isolate. Until your symptoms are gone or something. He said something like that. And I was like, and that word, like when they say like isolate, you're like, like,
yeah,
and I am like, we are doing that, but it totally brings back like years of all of that. And
yeah. And no one wants to isolate, but you're like, yeah, I'm not like watching Bridgerton over here. I'm like, trying to.
You're like, I'm not
kind of like
resting.
No, I know.
There won't be resting.
Today when I like, oh my God, I was like so nauseous and just like, I definitely called my son a jerk. I mean, he was being a jerk. I apologized for, being mean, but I wasn't like, I didn't say that I'd misspoke,
Yeah. Well, the band, do they act up more when you're sick? Like, I feel like I've been hard on Griffin and I feel bad about it, but he's acting really kind of weird. And I think he's kind of weirded out that
they get weirded out. I think they go through phases and it obviously depends on your kid. And, my kids tend to kind of rally and kind of pull through. But then like, after a certain point, they kind of are like, what the fuck? We just like, I mean, I think they feel like how we feel is though, like, we just wanted to have fun. And now there's these like grumpy adults that like, I was on a fucking ferry today trying to convince my 6-year-old to like go take an Icelandic bill that I like couldn't even see how much it was. It might have been like $100 and like go to the, kind of like make her way swaying back and forth to the like snack shop to go get herself something to eat. And she was like, are you fucking kidding me? I missed Dad. I was like, Dad's not here.
Ferry with I'm very impressed. There's a lot of motion.
Someone had
spinning rooms in a ferry.
It was
that's the thing. I was, like, it's like Nellie's been up a lot in the night with this, and like there's that thing where you're like, well, does the one with
about the night,
the one with the fever get up, or does the one with pneumonia get up? And I feel like David and I lie there and it's like we have this silent debate and you wait for the one to be like, I'll go, and it's anyway. On that note, I have to go. But
may my marriage survive this illness is kind of always how I feel. Is like, may I find a deeper well of generosity instead of going further into the like kind of the negative like correlation of like, when you get I am taken from that happens.
The tallying. I do love tallying. Yeah.
Wish me luck. Tomorrow
gosh.
This time I would like to be eating reindeer carpaccio.
I think the fact that you can say that out loud. Stomach. Yeah, saying that out loud seems like I wouldn't be able to do that if I was like
is it just
super bad off?
Probably people who feel healthy are feeling a little barfy just thinking about that statement anyway.
Well, you really do look lovely, and it's lovely to see you.
Thank you, friend.
And I one day we're gonna feel well, and this will be like, oh, what? I was sick. What?
And maybe you won't get the thing. That happens too.
I do exercise more than he does.
You do. You are a better person than all the sick people in your house. So
it's just that. It's yeah.
May Thor shine on you. Is Thor the god?
Thor
Odin,
is
Odin.
I think
May Odin.
Well, Odin is Thor's dad.
Oh yeah. So Odin would shine on you and Thor would like,
hammer you.
Like
Maybe he can hammer the virus away.
Yeah.
Oh, God. All right.
I'm thinking of it sexually. You deserve that too. May you be well enough for something like that. Okay, Godspeed.
All right. Well, good luck. Much love. Feel better.
Mom always said,
episodes and
May four hammer you.
chat and comment features, episode
Bye,
transcripts, and more. And on Instagram at the mother of it all. We know you are profoundly busy, but if you like listening and can manage to follow, rate, or review us in a small moment between leaning in and having it all, it will help us reach a wider audience and meet our stretch goal of getting Michelle Obama on the pod. Thanks for your support. Now get out there and have a totally passable day.